Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about a silent killer not of your body, but of your dreams, goals, and potential. That killer is laziness. Laziness is sneaky. It hides behind excuses, procrastination, and comfort. It whispers lies like "you'll do it tomorrow," "you're too tired," or "you're not ready yet." And every time you listen, you give up a piece of your future. You weren't born to be average. You weren't designed to settle. Inside you is greatness, but greatness requires work. It requires discipline, and that means killing laziness every single day. Killing laziness doesn't mean never resting. It means knowing when to act and when to recover, but never letting excuses dominate your life. If you're tired of watching others succeed, tired of feeling stuck, tired of wasting your time, then it's time to make a choice. No one else can do it for you. You either kill your laziness or it will kill your ambition. Wake up early, move with purpose, do the hard things, fight the inner voice that says later, because nothing changes until you do. So the question is, are you going to let laziness win, or are you finally going to kill it? Laziness is not a momentary mood, it's a mindset. It's not just about feeling tired after a long day or wanting to relax on the weekend. It is a deep, creeping resistance to growth. It lurks in your thoughts, justifying why you didn't start today, why you didn't push a little harder, or why you keep delaying what you know you should be doing. To kill your laziness, the first and most crucial step is to recognize it for what it truly is, an enemy disguised as comfort. Think of laziness as a parasite that feeds on your time, energy, and ambition. Every time you choose the couch over the grind, distraction over discipline, excuses over execution, you give it more power. It becomes more than a habit, it becomes your identity. It starts to define you, and the worst part is, it's subtle. It doesn't come at you like a storm. It creeps in, a little at a time, until you've normalized a life of delay, avoidance, and regret. People often mistake laziness for self-care or rest, but rest is intentional and purposeful. It recharges you. Laziness is draining. It leaves you feeling guilty, unfulfilled, and increasingly distant from the life you want. It convinces you that you're saving energy, but what you're really doing is wasting time, the one thing you can never get back. The more you feed it, the louder it gets. It starts to control your decisions, your routines, even your vision of what's possible for you. Recognizing laziness means you stop sugarcoating your behavior. It means refusing to label procrastination as patience or fear as caution. You have to start calling things what they are. If you're scrolling instead of studying, that's not taking a break. If you're watching others build their future while you wait for motivation to strike, that's not planning, that's surrendering. And the moment you get honest with yourself is the moment you reclaim your power. Laziness wants you passive, it wants you reactive, it wants you to believe that you're not ready, not good enough, or that tomorrow is a better time to start. It doesn't shout, it whispers, it talks in comfort. But make no mistake, it is the voice of limitation, and the longer you listen, the more your goals fade into the background. The life you dream about doesn't vanish all at once. It dies slowly every time you choose easy over effort. This enemy doesn't care how smart you are, how big your dreams are, or how much potential you have. All it needs to win is your permission to wait. That's it. One more delay, one more excuse, one more later, and it wins. Every time you give in, you're handing over the keys to your own future to something that has never and will never serve you. So begin by watching your own behavior closely. Track the moments where you talk yourself out of action. Be ruthless in identifying the lies you tell yourself to stay comfortable. See them for what they are, tricks from the enemy of progress, because only when you identify the enemy can you begin to fight back. Without clear goals, you're drifting. You may feel busy, you may even feel productive at times, but the truth is, without a target, all your effort is scattered. You can't hit a bullseye if you don't know where the target is. And that's exactly what laziness feeds on, a lack of direction. If you don't define where you're going, you'll settle for wherever life takes you. That's not ambition, that's survival, and survival mode is where laziness thrives. Setting clear goals is about declaring war on aimlessness. It's about telling your mind, this is what I want, this is why it matters, and this is how I'll get there. When you give yourself a goal, a specific, measurable, and emotionally charged target, you cut off the option of wandering. You create urgency, you create accountability, and most importantly, you give your energy a destination. You see, the mind is a powerful machine, but it needs instructions. Without a goal, it will default to the path of least resistance comfort, entertainment, distraction, excuses. It will find ways to avoid discomfort because it has no compelling reason to face it. But when you set a goal that truly matters to you, not a vague wish, but a real, powerful vision, you give yourself a reason to endure. You give your struggle meaning. Laziness doesn't stand a chance against someone who is crystal clear on what they want, because clarity kills doubt. When you know exactly what you're working toward, you stop negotiating with excuses. You don't argue with your alarm clock in the morning. You don't hesitate to put in extra hours. You don't flinch at hard work because you're not doing it to stay busy. You're doing it to move forward. But here's where most people get it wrong. They confuse goals with dreams. A dream is something you wish would happen. A goal is something you're actively working toward. It has structure. It has deadlines. It's written down. It's broken into steps. If you can't measure your progress, you don't have a goal, you have a hope. And hope alone is not a strategy. Set goals that challenge you, goals that scare you a little. Goals that demand your discipline, not just your interest. If your goal doesn't stretch you, it won't change you. And if it doesn't change you, it won't break the grip that laziness has on your life. Don't just say, I want to be successful. That's empty. Say, I want to earn $100 by the end of the year by building a business that solves this specific problem. Don't just say, I want to get in shape. Say, I will train 5 times a week, lose 20 pounds in 90 days, and run a 10K by July. Make it clear, make it real, make it urgent, and write your goals down, read them daily, post them where you can see them, turn them into your personal mission. Because every time you're tempted to waste time or skip the hard work, that goal should stare you in the face and remind you, this is why you can't afford to be lazy anymore. If motivation gets you started, routine keeps you going. People often wait for the perfect moment, the right mood, or a burst of inspiration to take action. But the harsh truth is, those moments come rarely and unpredictably. If you want to kill laziness, you can't rely on how you feel, you have to rely on what you do consistently. That's where routine becomes your greatest weapon. A strong routine removes the guesswork. It builds structure into your day, turning discipline into automatic behavior. When you build a routine around your goals, your actions stop being optional. You don't have to decide whether to work out, whether to study, whether to show up, you just do it, because it's part of who you are now. Your routine becomes your default setting. Laziness thrives in chaos. If your days are unstructured, your mind has room to wander, procrastinate, and rationalize inactivity. Without a routine, everything feels like a decision, and decisions drain willpower. That's why so many people burn out by noon. They waste energy thinking about what to do instead of just doing it. But when your day is built on habit, your mind is free to focus, perform, and grow. You remove resistance before it shows up. Think of the most successful people in any field: athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, scientists. What they all have in common is not just talent or intelligence, it's routine. They repeat key actions day in and day out, even when they don't feel like it. Especially when they don't feel like it, because they understand that success isn't built on one big effort, it's built on the small things done relentlessly. But here's the catch: building a routine isn't glamorous. It's repetitive, it's not exciting. It requires showing up on days when you'd rather do anything else. That's exactly why it's so powerful. Every time you stick to your routine, you're strengthening your identity as someone who follows through. You're proving to yourself that you're in control, not your mood, not your circumstances, and certainly not your laziness. Start simple. Don't overwhelm yourself with a dozen new habits. Pick a few essential actions that align with your goals and build your day around them. Maybe it's waking up early, journaling your goals, working out, blocking off time for deep work, and avoiding distractions during certain hours. Repeat them daily until they become part of you. Make them non-negotiable. And when you fall off, because you will, at times, don't spiral, don't quit. Don't let a bad day become a bad week. Get back on track immediately. The strength of a routine isn't in its perfection, it's in its persistence. The more you show up, the more you train your mind to obey discipline instead of emotion. Remember, laziness hates routine because routine brings order, direction, and forward movement. And laziness can't survive in the life of someone who has built discipline into their daily rhythm. Excuses are the comfort food of the lazy mind. They taste good in the moment. They satisfy your need to avoid responsibility, but they offer zero nutritional value for your growth. In fact, every excuse you make is like a brick in the wall between you and the life you want. The more you stack them, the harder it becomes to break through, and here's the truth most people avoid. Excuses are lies we tell ourselves to justify staying the same. Laziness doesn't usually show up as total inactivity. It often shows up as endless justification. I don't have time. I'm not ready yet. I'll start when I'm more motivated. It's just not the right season. These are not reasons, these are delays. And every time you choose to speak or believe one of them, you reinforce the story that your comfort is more important than your progress. But here's the powerful shift. You can't control every situation, but you can always control your response. You can either respond with action or retreat with excuses. The more you act in spite of discomfort, the more you weaken the excuse-making habit. Action is the antidote. It doesn't have to be massive. It just has to be real. A small, deliberate step forward carries more value than hours of overthinking. When you replace excuses with action, you stop outsourcing your life to circumstances. You take your power back. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions because you realize there's no such thing as a perfect time, only wasted time. And while everyone else is planning, thinking, hesitating, and blaming, you're building momentum. You're separating yourself from the crowd simply by doing what needs to be done. Excuses are also addictive because they remove accountability. They let you off the hook. If you're tired, it's okay, don't try. If you failed before, don't risk trying again. If others are ahead of you, blame them or your environment. But here's the truth that transforms everything. No one is coming to save you. The life you want won't arrive with a permission slip. It will arrive when you stop explaining your inaction and start making moves, no matter how small. Start catching your excuses in real time. Hear yourself say, I can't, and then challenge it, can't or won't. Don't have time or won't make time, tired or uncommitted. It takes brutal honesty to break laziness, and that honesty begins with stripping your words of the soft comfort of justification. There is nothing wrong with struggle. There is nothing wrong with failing, falling behind, or not being where you want to be, but there is something deeply wrong with staying there and defending it with an excuse. Excuses don't protect your dreams, they bury them. One decision at a time. The most powerful people you know didn't get there by making fewer mistakes, they got there by taking more action. They replaced overthinking with execution. They replaced fear with forward movement. And most importantly, they stopped making excuses and started making progress. One of the most dangerous lies laziness tells you is this: you're not ready yet. It sounds reasonable, even responsible. You convince yourself you need to learn more, prepare more, wait for the right moment, or feel more confident. But deep down, you know the truth. That voice isn't protecting you, it's paralyzing you. It's not caution, it's fear dressed up as logic, and fear is laziness's most loyal partner. Waiting until you're ready is one of the most effective ways to kill momentum before it starts. The reality is this: you will never feel completely ready. Growth doesn't come before action, growth comes as a result of action. Confidence isn't something you need to begin, it's something you build through doing, failing, adjusting, and doing again. You don't need clarity to take the first step. You gain clarity by walking the path. Perfectionism, the belief that things need to be just right before you start, is a trap. It's a polished excuse that sounds noble but functions like laziness, because perfection is impossible, and if you chase it, you'll delay forever. People spend years perfecting a plan they never act on. They stay stuck in learning mode, preparation mode, planning mode, and never hit execution mode. That's not ambition. That's fear wrapped in productivity. The most successful people aren't those who had everything figured out from the beginning. They're the ones who had the courage to start messy, to step into the unknown, to try, fail, and learn publicly. They understood that progress requires motion, not mastery. They started with what they had, where they were, and figured the rest out along the way. Laziness thrives when you stay still. It wants you researching forever, brainstorming forever, daydreaming forever. Why? Because thinking feels safe, doing feels risky, but risk is where growth lives. Every step you take outside your comfort zone silences laziness a little more. Every action, no matter how imperfect, pushes you forward. And every time you act instead of waiting, you become more powerful. Start with what you know. Start even if you're uncertain. Start with fear in your chest and doubt in your head. Just don't sit still. That book you want to write the first terrible paragraph. That business idea, launch the rough version. That goal you've been avoiding, take the smallest possible step toward it today. Imperfect action will always beat perfect inaction. You'll never feel 100% prepared. You're not supposed to. Readiness doesn't come before the work, it's born through it. Each time you take action in spite of not feeling ready, you train your mind to push past fear. You weaken the grip of laziness. You stop waiting to feel brave and start becoming brave through movement. Discipline is not something you're born with, it's something you build day by day, decision by decision. Just like a muscle, it grows through resistance, through repetition, and through effort. And just like a muscle, it can shrink if you don't use it. If laziness is the disease, then discipline is the cure. It doesn't depend on motivation. It doesn't care how you feel. It shows up because it's trained to, not because it's inspired to. Here's the thing about discipline, it's uncomfortable. It asks you to do the hard thing when the easy thing is screaming your name. It requires you to say no to the immediate pleasure and yes to long-term value. That's not easy, but it's necessary. Discipline is what separates the people who only want results from the people who actually create them. Too many people wait to feel like it before they act. They treat discipline as if it's supposed to come naturally, like a burst of energy or inspiration. But that's not how it works. Discipline is forged in moments when you don't want to do the thing, but you do it anyway. When the alarm goes off and every part of you wants to hit snooze, but you get up. When your body says rest, but your purpose says work, and you listen to your purpose. That's when discipline is built. Laziness hates discipline because it cannot survive in a system of non-negotiables. When you develop discipline, your excuses become irrelevant. Your feelings take a back seat. You stop waiting to feel right and start doing what is right consistently. That consistency becomes your superpower. It's the quiet force that drives results, builds character, and transforms potential into performance. Start small, but start seriously. Discipline doesn't have to begin with massive, dramatic changes. It can start with a promise to yourself. Wake up at the same time every day, commit to 30 minutes of focused work, exercise daily, eat clean, stay off your phone during your most productive hours. These might seem like minor actions, but when done consistently, they shape your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who controls their actions, someone who does what needs to be done regardless of how they feel. And every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-respect grows. You begin to trust yourself. That inner trust is crucial, because without it, you'll sabotage your own goals. But when you know deeply that you are someone who shows up and executes, even when it's hard, you become unstoppable. You become disciplined by default, not desire. Just like the gym, building discipline takes deliberate reps. You'll fail sometimes, you'll slip, but you don't stop. You treat each day like a workout, another opportunity to train your mind and behavior. The pain of discipline is real, but it's temporary and far lighter than the pain of regret. Every rep of discipline weakens laziness and strengthens your grip on your future. Laziness is contagious, just like ambition. The people you spend time with shape your habits, your mindset, and your standard of what's normal. If you surround yourself with people who constantly procrastinate, make excuses, complain, and settle, don't be surprised when you start doing the same. You might think you're too strong to be influenced, but energy rubs off, and over time, it rewires how you think, act, and show up in your own life. Take a hard look at your circle. Do they challenge you or coddle you? Do they encourage you to grow or give you permission to stay the same? Do they light a fire under you or help you put your fire out with distractions and justifications? If you want to kill laziness, you need to eliminate the voices that keep you comfortable in mediocrity and increase the voices that pull you toward greatness. Winners don't make excuses. Winners don't tolerate laziness in themselves or in others. If your current circle makes you feel weird for working hard, staying disciplined, or setting ambitious goals, you're not in the wrong circle, you're in the wrong room. The right people won't mock your hustle, they'll match it. They'll hold you accountable, they'll celebrate your progress and call you out when you're slacking, not because they're better than you, but because they believe you're capable of more. Being around driven people changes your internal thermostat. You start to notice what's possible. You witness work ethic in action. You hear conversations about goals, not gossip. You watch how they manage time, push through setbacks, and stay locked in when others drift. That energy is powerful. It's not hype, it's momentum. And momentum, once caught, can change the entire trajectory of your life. This doesn't mean cutting off everyone in your life who isn't grinding 24/7. It means being intentional about who gets your energy, time, and influence. Spend more time with people who inspire action. Read the books, listen to the podcasts, follow the mentors who embody the mindset you're trying to build. Fill your environment, physical and digital, with reminders of who you want to become, because your environment either sharpens you or softens you. And be careful, some of the people keeping you lazy aren't doing it out of malice. They just don't want to lose you to growth. Your ambition threatens their comfort. Your progress makes their excuses harder to justify, so they'll try to slow you down, often with love. But love that holds you back isn't love, it's control. Real support pushes you to level up even when it's uncomfortable. If you want to be relentless, surround yourself with the relentless. If you want to be focused, hang around those who are focused. If you want to kill laziness for good, then stop giving it oxygen through lazy environments. Because your habits are a reflection of your environment, and your environment is a mirror of what you tolerate.